Welcome back, subscribers. Currently, we're on day 141 of Russia's disastrous invasion of Ukraine, and so far, it's estimated that over 37,000 soldiers fighting for the Russian forces have been killed in this conflict. This number doesn't include wounded in action, missing in action, or prisoners of war. And more, as this conflict drags on, I'm convinced that a majority of this casualty number is not actually Russian citizens. It's Ukrainian citizens being force conscripted from the Donbas region. So these are the separatist fighters of Donetsk and Luhansk. More and more, Russia is pushing them to the front lines in order to conserve their own soldiers. Russia really doesn't care if people from the Donbas live or die. And in this video, I want to share this crazy story that Russia appears to be turning to Iran for help. So the White House on Monday said it believes Russia is turning to Iran to provide it with hundreds of unmanned aerial vehicles, including weapons-capable drones for its use in its ongoing war in Ukraine. Now, if you ask the Iranians, are you doing this? Of course, they're going to deny it. Even if Iran does supply military aid to Russia in its war against Ukraine, Iran is never going to admit it. And to be fair to Iran, Russo-Iranian cooperation in modern tech actually goes back to before the war started. So Tehran says that cooperation between Iran and Russia in the field of some modern technologies goes back to before the war. Russia definitely did not notify Iran ahead of time that they were going to be invading Ukraine. So Iran says there's no recent deal to send Russia drones as it awaits Putin's visit. The key word here being recent, so maybe if drones end up in the Russian forces' hands, Iran will just say, well, this was a pre-existing cooperative agreement in order to supply Russia drones. But this is also some pretty interesting news that the Kremlin announced on Tuesday that Russian President Vladimir Putin would travel to Tehran next week. So what the heck is going on here? And here's a map that I think explains it best. If Europe is no longer going to do business with Russia, if Russia can't sell their energy and commodity exports to Europe anymore, then Russia quickly needs to find new markets for their exports. And India at the moment is still willing and looking to buy. And the fastest and cheapest route to get Russian oil and commodities to India is actually over land through Iran. So if Russia can get their exports down to the Caspian Sea, then have Iranian cooperation to get it to the Indian Ocean, they can then get it to either East Asia or India specifically. So this is a top priority for Vladimir Putin. He is personally getting on a plane to fly to Tehran to kiss the feet of Iranian leadership and beg for their cooperation to allow, one, military aid, but two, to allow Russian exports to pass through Iran at a fair price. And this is pretty alarming, I think, for Vladimir Putin to leave the country during a war, because there's a very long history and long list of heads of states accidentally dying in aviation accidents. So maybe if someone in the Russian military or the Ukrainian military or any Western military wants something to happen to this plane, Vladimir Putin is taking the risk. Additionally, when you're the head of states and there's civil unrest at home, when you leave the country, you take the risk of perhaps a popular uprising or a military coup happening at home. I think this is what happened in 2016 in Turkey, as Erdogan at the time was out of the country, and the military attempted to stage a coup while he was gone. He had to quickly fly back in order to gain re-control of the capital and of the government. The coup failed, and this was a huge disaster, but it's still a possibility if Russia, specifically Vladimir Putin, decides to leave the country. So let's now pause to reflect on the fact that Vladimir Putin himself has to personally go to Iran to beg for military assistance. Russia, supposedly the world's second most powerful military, is struggling to get the job done in Ukraine. This is an empirical fact at this point. And with the Russian trolls in the comment section, I'm even arguing with them about the passage of time. In my last video, I said this war is now on its 6th month, and they're even denying that time is occurring. And I'll count it out for you. This war started in February. February, March, April, May, June, July. This war is now on its 6th month. So to argue that everything is going precisely on schedule for Russia's limited special military operation, it's a joke at this point. I love this shining meme about the damage and devastation that the HIMARS system has been doing to the Russian forces, and a report as of yesterday, 5 more Russian ammunition depots were destroyed. Here is their locations in the Russian-controlled part of Ukraine. And look at these before and after photos. These are satellite images taken during the day of these Russian ammunition depots getting struck. So that was the before. This is the after. Here is the crater from where the missile hits. Obviously, there's going to be lots of secondary explosions in the fire as all of this ammunition is basically wasted. And every building, structure, or vehicle probably within 100 yards of this depot was either damaged or destroyed. Here's a video I want to share with you. This was a HIMARS strike on an ammo depot in Nova Kakhovka. Let's just watch a couple seconds of this video. Wow. Here is a still frame picture of the mushroom cloud from the ammo depot exploding. This is a normal, maybe 10-story apartment building, and just look at how high this mushroom cloud went in the air. Here's another video of a HIMARS strike on a Russian air defense base in the Luhansk region, and I just want to show you a couple seconds of this clip. These are devastating missile attacks that Russian forces just aren't going to be able to quickly recover from. And within Ukraine's borders, there really is no safe haven for the Russian forces. When we look at the Russian-occupied territory within Ukraine's borders, it's all within this 70-kilometer range of Ukraine's new HIMARS missile system. And yes, Russian propaganda, perhaps they're claiming to have destroyed several of these trucks, several of these launchers, but whether the number of launchers they have is 8, 4, or 2, that's not the limiting factor. The limiting factor is how many of these GPS-guided precision missiles that the United States and Western allies can supply to Ukraine to launch from. A single launcher can launch dozens of missiles a night and do a lot of damage to the Russian forces. This has been a pretty bad week for Russian leadership in the field, as Ukraine has struck a Russian command center outside of Kherson, and within this one strike, 150 Russian soldiers were estimated killed, including 5 high-ranking officers, another major general, 2 colonels, and 2 lieutenant colonels. I think the number of Russian generals so far killed in this conflict is, I think, like 14 or 15. And when we check in with the war map on deepstatemap.live, I want to go ahead and make a prediction for you today that at some point in the near future, potentially September or October, I think the Russian military is going to give up on holding the north bank of the Dnieper River. For Russia, it makes sense because they want to control the entire geographic boundary of the Kherson Oblast. In addition, the city of Kherson itself is on the north bank of the river. But I don't think the Ukrainians are ever going to stop shelling the Russian forces inside this area, attacking them with their new HIMARS missiles. So at some point, Russia is going to withdraw from the north bank of the river, potentially blow the bridges on their way back, and then just focus on holding the canal and the official land bridge connecting Russia to Crimea. So what is the impact, the immediate impact of these new HIMARS system going after command posts, going after ammo depots? And I just want to show you how little progress the Russian forces have made in the last 2 weeks. So currently the map is set to July 1st. Today is July 14th. So we can see that almost no progress has been made over the last 2 weeks. So this is July 1st. I'm going to start advancing the map forward. When you see red blobs move forward, that's Russia trying to make progress. This is July 3rd. We have July 4th. We have July 6th. We have 7th, July 8th, July 9th, July 10th, July 11th, July 12th, July 14th. So they're not even moving forward at their usual rate of a couple square kilometers a day. And Russia's stated objective is to get the entire Donbass region, which is this gray dotted line here. So at the rate they're moving based on the last 2 or 3 weeks, they're not going to get the job done anytime this year over the next 6 months. So whatever Ukraine is doing right now as far as going after command posts and ammo depots, it's proven effective in blunting Russia's offensive to capture the rest of the Donbass region. The next piece of news I want to quick share with you concerns partisan activity behind enemy lines, and the leader of a Russian-occupied Ukrainian town was killed by a car bomb. So this is a pro-Moscow military civilian administrator, and he was blown up by Ukrainian saboteurs behind enemy lines. This is a town currently occupied by the Russians. The Russians placed some puppet figure in charge of the town, and Ukrainian partisans successfully assassinated him. I think more and more these acts of sabotage behind Russian lines will be occurring, and it can be something as simple as slashing tires on a truck to, once again, assassinations with car bombs. Russia is going to continue to struggle with these kinds of activities as they maintain their military occupation of Ukrainian cities. The other war map I want to quick share with you is the price of oil. I think ultimately for Russia to realize it's been defeated, the government and the military have to be bankrupted. And this can only be accomplished if the price they're getting for their exports declines. Thankfully, over the last month, we've already seen commodity prices decline, the most important of all being the price of oil. And prior to the invasion, back in February, the price of a barrel of oil was 91 US dollars. Oil peaked in June, on June 7th. This is the maximum amount of money that the Russian government is bringing in for the war effort. The prices then dropped almost 20% to $96. And remember, for Russia to get their exports out to either maybe India or China, they have to sell it at a discount in order for India and China to want to take it. So the more this comes down, the less money that, once again, Russia is bringing in for the war effort. Let's wrap up this video with a laugh, and I want to share this clip from one of my favorite Twitter accounts, Darth Putin. And this is a Russian World War II era T-34 tank pretending to play dead to avoid being sent to Ukraine. There's no sound for the video, and this is some kind of civilian parade, but it just goes to show you how incompetent Russia is, that they can't even properly load a tank onto the back of a truck. Another fun clip I want to share with you involves a tug-of-war contest between Indian soldiers and Russian soldiers. This one does have sound. I just want to show you how it turned out for the Russian soldiers.
Gang, gang, gang.
Russia sucks. They can't even win a game of tug of war. That's all for this update video, everyone. If you found it informative, give me a thumbs up. Really helps out with the channel. If you have any comments or questions or know something I don't, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, take care, be safe.